Shut up and sit down.
Welcome back to Popping Culture Podcast number 87. I'm Adrian.
I'm Jay.
And I'm
You seem a little overwhelmed there.
I really am. I was telling Jay just moments ago, and I'm actually starting to get a little flustered right now. Jay, you asked me if I wanted to delay this podcast recording.
Yeah.
Tell the folks what we just did.
Well, we just watched Game 7 of the World Series between the Chicago Cubs and the Cleveland Indians. All 10 innings plus 17-minute rain delay of it.
Yeah, and it was a lot of ups and downs. And if you guys have been listening, you know I'm a diehard Cubs fan since youth.
Yeah.
And it was the first World Series won since 1908.
There you go. Congratulations, Cubbies.
Thank you. And so I'm a little.
You're a little verklempt.
It was real stressful. It was a real big lead in the beginning. We lost the lead. Looked like we were going to lose. Got a rain delay.
Yeah.
Came back after the rain delay, one inning, and just thank God.
So yeah, I left my apartment to come over here, middle of the 8th inning, and the score was 6-3, Cubs up.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, they pretty much got this in the bag. I get about a mile away, and I get a text from one of my buddies asking if you flipped the table over, and I'm like, what? And I look at the score, and it's 6-6.
I have had the full range of emotions of happy to nausea to now tears, which is so stupid because it's just a baseball game. I get it.
But it's a big thing. It's
a big thing.
Like you said, you've been a Cubs fan since you were very, very young.
Yep.
So you've obviously never seen them win the series because you weren't alive in 1908.
They haven't even gotten to a World Series since the 40s. So
Yeah.
I've never even seen them get to this show.
So this was big for you.
It's big for me.
So
it's big for me. Super, super happy. I did, and it's also redeeming. It's also redeeming. I'm going to get into redemption real fast.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to get into redemption, then we'll get to our drink, and we'll move on from baseball talk.
Okay.
I follow the Cubs.
Yep.
And I follow the Golden State Warriors.
Yes.
Golden State Warriors lost to Cleveland this year. And they lost. They had a 3-1 lead, and they lost.
Yeah.
Cleveland had a 3-1 lead, and they lost. So I feel like the Cubs got redemption for just everything in my life. Everything in my life.
I was not waiting for the Cubs to lose, but anticipating if they did, that you would have devised a plan to wipe Cleveland off the map.
Oh, it would have happened.
Yeah.
I would have saved a couple Fender guitars from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and just nuked that fucking rest of that city. It would have gone to hell. Okay.
All right. So what the hell are we drinking?
What are we doing here?
Because there's a lot of things going on.
For those of you who are watching, you see this tray in front of us. You see 4 3/4 shots of whiskey, 2 cans of cider, and a bottle of cider, and 4 empty glasses. We're also starting really late compared to usual.
It's 10 p.m. local time here.
Yeah, we usually start quite a bit sooner. We actually just bought a brand new guest bed. It's only been slept in once, so you can crash there. It'll be great for you.
Okay.
It's November now. We're in fall. Halloween just wrapped up. Our whiskey months just wrapped up. And I was in a fall feeling. I'm feeling like fall.
Okay.
And I don't know why, to me, I always think of apples because of apple pie, and you think of bobbing for apples.
And people do like hot apple cider in the fall.
Apple cider, like all that was getting to me. So I'm like, what are we going to do for fall? And a big thing going on right now I don't necessarily agree with this, is cider and whiskey combined. Okay?
Okay.
So
I know where this is going.
So you know where this is going.
Oh.
There are 4 shots of whiskey, and there's 2 different types of cider.
Okay.
The middle cider, the bottle cider, all the cider is provided by Locust Cider in Woodinville, Washington.
Okay.
Little cidery there.
Sure.
I really like this cider.
Okay.
It's called the Wabi Sabi, but they're changing that name because everyone thinks it has wasabi in it.
Well, that was my thought.
Yeah, so they're changing the name. And the other one is their dry cider.
Okay.
Now, I don't love this one originally.
Okay.
So I thought we'll try the cider, and then we'll add the whiskey in.
Okay.
And then about halfway, when we're done with movies, before we do comics, we'll do the other one.
Okay, fair enough.
Let's start with some dry.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, that's why the
Wow.
tray's there. See?
I don't.
It's cool,
I
yo.
haven't even drank that much yet.
All right, so go ahead and try the dry cider. When they say dry, they mean dry. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the things I like about this cider is my wife's allergic to everything.
Okay.
So I can't have beer and kiss her because
Sure.
I'm now contaminated.
Right.
But I can have cider because it's gluten-free.
Oh, okay.
And it's, free of everything else that she can't have.
Sure.
What most people don't realize is all the ciders that most people enjoy, the Angry Orchard and the Strongbone, the this and the that, it's apple juice with fake flavor and high fructose corn syrup. That is the second ingredient in Angry Orchard is high fructose corn syrup.
Right.
Locust and a lot of other good cideries, it is literally apples.
Okay.
With the exception of this one, which is apples and yeast.
All right. Is it more carbonated or?
It is a little bit more carbonated.
Okay.
It adds a really nice flavor, but they
Okay.
use different apples for sweeter, whereas the dry is the dry.
Right.
So now we'll go ahead and add, and I gave you Batman and Green Lantern
Fair enough.
whiskey. So I'll add some of the whiskey to it.
See, I'm so used to doing this as a drop shot that I forgot that you gotta just pour it. It's not bad. I barely even taste the whiskey, actually.
I barely taste the whiskey. However, I do think it makes the dry a little less dry.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, a little more bland overall.
Mm-hmm.
So I do taste some of the whiskey.
Okay. I mean, I get a little bit of the bite in the back of my throat, and that's about
Sure.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's we'll open the next one a little bit later. Let's move on to some TV news. Man.
Okay.
What are you been watching?
I did not get through a lot this week. I did Walking Dead,
Okay.
which I don't know what the hell's happening with that show anymore. I did Legends of Tomorrow.
Ooh. Oh, tell me about it. Tell me all about it.
So, what is the guy's name? Nate. They picked up Steele, not like Shaq Steele, like Captain Steele,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Commander Steele's grandson.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
on board.
Okay, so he's hanging out now. We've seen the JSA. That episode's come and gone.
Oh, really? Already?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
it was episode 2.
How was it?
It was all right.
All right.
It was a lot of bad acting.
There
But-
it is.
But now Captain Steele is hanging out on the Wave Rider with the other legends, and something happens. And he falls out of the door of the spaceship or time ship or whatever.
Does he just sink through time because he's steel?
No, well, he doesn't have control of his steel
Okay.
powers yet. It's one of those things. It's the old trope of, hey, I get hit and I power up.
Sure, he's Colossus.
Exactly. Yeah. So he ends up falling out of the Wave Rider and landing in like samurai Japan times.
Okay, feudal Japan. I believe
Yes,
it's
that's
called.
the word I was looking for. And then it ends up being this weird love story where he gets rescued by a girl, falls in love with her, and she's scheduled to be married to the local shogun, who he defeats in battle.
All right.
And it was kind of meh.
I heard that they're really playing up White Canary being a lesbian in this show.
They definitely did in the first episode.
Okay.
It hasn't been touched on as much in the second or third episodes, but definitely in the first episode because she was sleeping with the soon-to-be queen. They were trying to prevent the king assassination. I don't know, whatever.
So what I'm hearing is you've been really, really enjoying it.
Absolutely.
Oh, good.
One thing I did laugh about, though, is there's a scene in here where they discover a secret compartment on the ship that was hidden from them. And it had a message from Flash of 2046, which is still Barry Allen.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just doing that math there. That
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Uh,
Was it read in voiceover work by Grant Gustin?
it was.
Yes.
But it was definitely like an aged voice, so it didn't even sound like Grant Gustin.
Right.
But he still got credits. And I'm like, really?
They synthed it. Man.
Yeah.
They essentially TI'd him and just auto-tuned
But
it.
but it was like special guest appearance by Grant Gustin, like in the credits. I'm like, that's bullshit. And then I've been working through more Community.
Oh, okay. How's that going along?
Good. I just got through the second episode of the Pillow Fort.
Oh,
War.
yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
I love how they tell it in the old-timey fashion.
Yeah. And then at the end of the episode, it's them doing a telethon to raise money. Yeah. It's hilarious. So
I love that.
that's
show,
where
man.
I'm at on that.
Awesome.
And that's all I watched.
Okay. I watched 7 games of the World Series.
Sure.
So that is it's a little bit of chunk of time.
Yeah.
Really, when you think about the time, because the World Series, the game averaged just over 3 hours per game is what it averaged. There were 7 games. So give or take, I did 22 hours of baseball.
Okay.
That's just a little bit.
Yeah.
Also watched some of the new Halloween episodes. Bob's Burgers,
Okay.
Modern Family. The other thing we've been watching is The Flash. We're getting caught up on The Flash.
Okay.
How far along are you?
I am 2 episodes behind.
So you haven't watched Magenta.
No.
Okay. That's how as far as we've gotten.
Okay, and that was last week's episode, not last night's episode.
Correct. We haven't watched last night's episode. Overall, I'm kind of it's
kind of going down.
It's losing its appeal for me.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Dr. Alchemy looks ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah.
You know where the story's going. You already know what's going to happen with Wally, and it's just been kind of disappointing me.
Yeah. The first 2 seasons were definitely much better than this season is. I feel like they've kind of run out of good ideas.
Well, so obviously the Flashpoint universe. So he went in the Flashpoint universe for one episode. He came back and made an alternative timeline, and that's the timeline we're in now. So essentially what happened was Flashpoint, like the comic book, then he came back, and now we're in the New 52.
Right.
So how long do we go into Rebirth?
Yeah,
Flash
right.
Rebirth episode.
It'll be like episode 8.
Right?
Yeah.
I just feel overall, like you said, it's become lackluster. It's no longer on my, oh man, it's out and I want to watch this. Now it's like, we've run out of things to watch.
Yeah.
So let's watch The Flash.
Yeah, and I'm at the point, like, that's one of the ones I watched with the wife, so that's why I'm 2 weeks behind, because neither of us had time at the same time, so I'm like, I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah.
That and Arrow, I almost feel like I watched specifically to talk about on this show. Not that you even watch Arrow, but
Sure. I watch The Flash because I'm a completist and an addict.
No,
I can't quit.
Me too. But yeah.
I don't know how to quit you, Flash.
Did you watch anything else?
South Park.
Okay.
I'm just going to touch on South Park really fast. Phenomenal. And I really, really appreciate that they've just used the past 4 episodes to slam J.J. Abrams and how The Force Awakens not as good as everybody thinks it was.
That was not a good movie. At all.
I just love that I think it's funny that it's been about a year now, and we're now allowed to acknowledge that it wasn't a good movie.
Right.
Because when it first came out, if you said that, you were shunned.
Right.
Like, I have friends who still won't speak to me, throw tomatoes at my door because it was a shitty movie.
Well.
Yeah, also, stop throwing tomatoes at my door.
Right? That's weird.
Secondly, but now we're allowed to openly say it, and I'm glad, because it was just a very subpar movie.
Like, I would still place it above the second trilogy. The newer trilogy.
I would place it above Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, not above Revenge of the Sith. Because the last half, Revenge of the Sith, was boss.
The first half was terrible, though.
Sure.
Which makes it equal out to a movie.
Yeah.
Which I would say, whatever this new one, Force Awakens. Was
at least
6 and 1/2 dozen in the other.
At least in Revenge of the Sith, we got a different story.
That's true. I mean, this
new
was
Force Awakens was just a New Hope, just gender swapped.
Yeah.
Like, big deal.
I'm curious to see what Rogue One's gonna be like.
I'm gonna watch it, obviously. Well,
yeah. I mean, I have a little bit higher hopes for Rogue One than I did for Force Awakens.
Okay. I've been intentionally just off. Like, I've seen the teaser trailer for Rogue One, and that's it.
That's all I've seen too.
Yep. And I know there's like 2 full-length trailers out, and I'm just dropping it. Like, I don't care.
Okay.
And I'm less and less into CBR and Newsarama like we talked about, so I'm
those guys.
getting even less about it. In fact, I read one article yesterday that put me off so much I haven't looked at all today. I usually look at least once a day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was the one I sent you about top 16 characters to play Cable.
But I feel like that's a repost of an old article, because I feel like I've read that before.
Maybe. But
or they've done that same list multiple times.
When you tell me Clive Owen's your number 1 choice for Cable, Tom Cruise, Charlize Theron, who's some of the other ones? Like, these just ridiculous choices. It was disappointing.
Yeah. Who would you pick to play Cable?
Stephen Lang,
Okay.
the dude from Avatar. You know why? Because he's Cable. Now, I had somebody, we actually talked about this today at the comic store, who said Steve Lang's too militant and he's not bulky enough to be Cable.
I'm sorry. I've seen plenty of actors get bulky for roles.
Yeah, and you can do the Tom Cruise effect because Tom Cruise is super small,
Right.
so is Sylvester Stallone, but you see him, they do that.
I love that Tom Cruise is super small. He's 1 inch shorter than me.
No.
He's 5'6". I'm 5'7".
I swear he's shorter than that.
Nope.
Okay, but still, they portray him
No, I
as,
know.
like,
Yeah.
You know,
It's all the camera
6'3".
angles. Yeah. No, I think Stephen Lang's a good choice. I also think, and I think we've talked about this before, I think John Hamm could pull it off too.
He was on that list.
Yeah.
So was the guy from Friday Night Lights. Frank. I don't know. He was on the list. He's a contender. His name escapes me now.
Okay.
I was super opposed to it.
I can't think of anybody from Friday Night Lights.
Brown hair. He was one of the dads, soft-spoken guy on the show.
I don't know. Anyways.
And I was like, that's something I know him from. And I was like, he is not. And the guy I was talking to about it was like, if you see him in Bloodlines, he totally is.
I
Like,
still haven't watched that.
yeah, me either.
Yeah.
So,
I also don't think Ron Perlman could do it. So take him off of every one of those lists.
I don't think Ron Perlman can do it either. Like, I love him as Clay.
Right.
Love him in Hellboy.
Mm-hmm.
He's not Cable.
No. Just because he's a bulky guy with gray hair. That
Sure.
doesn't mean he's
I
capable.
mean, if that's the characteristics, then we can get Sean Connery into shape. He's got gray hair.
Really, he has no hair.
He's got a little bit of gray on the side. But
Yeah.
remember, he was actually bald
In all of James Bond.
in all
He wore
of
a
James
toupee the
Bond.
entire
Yeah,
time.
so no reason we can't do the same for Cable.
Okay.
But for TV, that's it for me.
Okay.
Movies?
No movies. I have a bunch lined up for this weekend.
Yeah, we do.
No, in addition to that, I have a bunch more lined up. So
Well, we'll try this next one then.
I'm gonna keep drinking this while you do that.
All right. So this is the soon-to-be changed Wabi Sabi. This is a aged small batch with wild yeast and Belgian ale yeast.
Sure. To all of that.
So you can already see from the color, it's darker.
Yeah.
It's also cloudier, which I'm assuming is from the yeast.
Oh well, thank you. Yeah, the cloudy would definitely be the yeast. This looks a lot more like I'm about to drink an IPA. Which reminds me, I have 2 bottles of homemade IPA in my trunk that I need to put in my fridge.
That reminds me, there's an IPA I want to tell you about.
Okay.
All right, so take a hit off of that. Tell me what you think, just dry.
That's more the type of cider I enjoy.
Yeah, it's sweet, but not overtly sweet.
Yeah.
I like the body that the hops gives it.
This reminds me a lot of Magners, which is my favorite.
So are you just gonna put the shot in there, or you pour it in? Like,
Well, we're just gonna pour it. If you drop the shot, you have to
Yeah,
pound the whole
you have to
thing.
chug
And
it,
that's
right?
not what I'm about to do. I taste the whiskey even less in this one.
I agree.
I think the sweetness of it really covers up the whiskey. Danger, danger.
I do feel the whiskey, and I think that's actually why people do it.
Yeah.
They do the Angry Orchard that's sweet. They don't taste the whiskey, but they get the effect of an extra shot. In their
What type
alcohol.
of whiskey are we using?
Seagram 7?
Okay.
Because I wanted to. If you go to a bar and you order that, they're not giving you top shelf. They're giving you well whiskey.
Unless you call.
Unless
But
you
yes.
call. So I wanted to, recreate that.
So in Ireland, they drink a lot of cider.
Yes.
Irish cider. There's a drink there called a Johnny Jump Up, which is a drop shot of Jameson in Magners.
Ooh, I bet you that'd be delightful.
There's an entire song about it. I don't remember who sings it now.
Probably.
Anyways,
Probably Dropkick Murphys.
no. It's not like an Irish punk song. Sorry, but it's a whole song about how somebody went to the bar to get an ale and they were out. So he said, "Give me a Johnny Jump Up," and he pounded it and he got super drunk because he wasn't used to how strong the cider is, and then he went and caused a bunch of trouble.
Is their cider significantly strong?
It's surprisingly strong. Like even this, I don't know what this is,
Let's take a look.
but
This is 6.9% alcohol by volume.
sure, which by beer standard is slightly stronger than
This is about what you'd get in ESB.
right, but it drinks so easily because it's so sweet that you're gonna drink it real quick.
Yep.
So if you do 2 or 3 of those, because it's like juice, no big deal. It's going to hit you real hard.
So what I'm hearing is we just drink 2 or 3 of these because it's juice.
Well, I mean, we're on our second right now.
That is true, but only, I didn't do full shots of whiskey, so we're okay.
It's true. Okay.
So movies.
What movies did you watch?
All right. So we have Doctor Strange this weekend.
Yes.
So remind me to talk about that next week because I'm sure I'll forget.
Okay.
We watched a couple more horror movies.
Okay.
And some just so they can be blast for the past. My wife can't handle real scary horror movies.
Sure.
So we watched I Know What You Did Last Summer. Yes.
Oh, the one that started them all.
No, that was Scream.
I
Scream
thought
was first.
Did it come out
Yes,
first? I
it
thought
did.
I Know What You Did Last Summer came out first.
No,
All right.
Scream was first.
All right. I take that back.
Now, for those of you who are our age, you remember in the 90s there was a resurgence of a particular genre of horror movies. Your Screams, your I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend, Final Destination, Skulls. They were this whole 90s genre horror movie.
Yeah.
Generally a female heroine.
Uh-huh.
Generally somebody who's out to get them for a revenge purpose. Something that they did to instigate these actions. I Know What You Did Last Summer starring Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Was she still on Party of 5 at that time, or was
Yes,
this?
she was.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, you lost me. I was thinking
No,
about Jennifer
it's
Love
cool.
Hewitt.
Apparently, her body's a wonderland.
Oh,
So
is that who that song's about?
Yeah.
I feel like it always changes.
no, that's who, because they were dating at the time,
Oh, Johnny Mayer, I got to call you and get some details.
right? All right. So Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Freddie Prinze Jr.,
Oh,
Ryan Felipe, and Sarah Michelle Gellar. It is a who's who of 90s heartthrobs. It is just as I remembered
Wow.
it. Just as I remembered it. I was even surprised that I remembered some of the lines from that movie.
Oh, I mean, they're all highly predictable,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
So for those who've never watched I Know What You Did Last Summer, and the sequel, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
I can't believe there was a sequel to
You didn't know that?
No, I know there is. It just makes me laugh.
I wanted it to keep going. Do you recall that summer from last? Just at a certain point it becomes buddy.
I told my friend what you did last summer.
Yeah. I want it to become a buddy movie where they've been stalking them so long they're now buddies. Hey, remember that summer when? Anyways,
I mean, essentially, you just described Pretty Little Liars. It's 7 years of, hey, I'm coming after you.
Maybe I want to watch Pretty Little Liars now.
There's only one season left.
Yes. So the premise is it is senior year of high school. Classes is pretty much over. One of them gets drunk and they're in a car and they hit somebody crossing the road.
Right.
Since one of them was drunk, they decided it's a good idea if they just get rid of the body and pretend it never happened.
Well, sure.
A year later, it comes back to haunt them.
Of course.
And slowly but surely, they all get murdered. Except for the 2 good ones. The 2 bad ones. And that's all I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's all there is to it.
Fair enough.
We also watched the original Halloween.
The original Halloween.
Yes, the original starring
Wow.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
I apologize. Introducing Jamie Lee Curtis.
Introducing, that's right. Yeah.
Much like, as I mentioned before, what is that? Nightmare Before Elm Street introduced Johnny Depp.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure that Halloween did introduce Jamie Lee Curtis in her first movie. I think it may have been
I think it was her first starring role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That or her first big Scream movie.
Right.
Because Jamie Lee Curtis was the original Scream Queen.
Yeah.
Prom Night, Halloween 1 through 6, and then Halloween H2O. But at that point, she was older.
Right.
If you don't know what Halloween is, really, there's nothing I can... if you don't know what Halloween is, you're probably not even listening to this because you don't know technology.
That's
otherwise
true.
You've come across it.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the shitty Rob Zombie remakes. God, those were horrible. Did you watch those?
No.
Rough.
I don't know that I've even seen the original 6 Halloweens.
Oh, really?
I've seen a little bit here and there, but I don't know that I've seen all 6 of them in their entirety.
It may be the case that I have the box set.
I am not surprised.
And
but
the
do you
Nightmare-
still have the box?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just know you transferred a lot of your discs to the binder and got rid of the boxes.
Oh, no, the boxes are in storage.
Oh.
Because I'm a fucking addict, Jay. I can't throw them away. Look, I have a whole garage. I got to fill it with something.
Cars?
Yeah, they're in there.
One of them's in there.
That's for a whole other purpose. It's not that there's not room. She's nervous to put them too close together.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, all right.
The other movie we watched, the original Child's Play.
Okay.
For those of you who are not familiar with the original Child's Play, you may know, Curse of Chucky, Bride of Chucky, or just know him as Chucky. It was originally called Child's Play.
Right.
And we watched that movie as well.
Okay.
Again, if you don't know what Child's Play is, get out from under the rock you're living in. And those were our movies.
Can I tell you about a trailer I watched for a horror movie that I think you will laugh equally as hard at the premise of as I did?
Please.
Okay. It's called Handjob House.
Shut the I'm listening.
So
hold on. Is this the sequel to Bordello of Blood?
I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've seen Bordello of Blood.
Okay. So the premise behind this movie is there's a house that's haunted by a ghost of a girl. It's unclear how she died, but her and her boyfriend were in her room and she was giving him a hand job.
At the time of death?
He was standing right in front of the window, and I don't understand quite what it was, but somehow he got knocked out of the window and died.
Okay.
I still don't understand how she died. But, so now she is a ghost haunting the place, and anybody that comes in, any males that come in, she haunts them and tries to give them a hand job, and it's super weird.
Which is the horror aspect of this show?
Just that it's a ghost. I think that's the scary part.
That makes it technically not cheating.
There's definitely scenes where it looks like the guys are not resisting the ghost.
Yeah.
But then there's a super awkward scene with a girl that's getting haunted by the ghost, and it's weird.
Whoa. Unless it's a tranny, they're breaking their own rules.
I'm pretty sure there's a foreign object involved.
That's not a hand job,
Yeah.
That's a Tennessee tuxedo.
There you go. But this trailer is on YouTube. That's where I saw it. Okay. So if anybody's interested in being a little weirded out, go YouTube Handjob House. I think that's what it's. Handjob something. Handjob House, I think is what it is.
Yes, the classier version is actually known as Ejaculation Manor.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm. We watched,
but if you want to add that to your horror movie viewing, feel free.
No, the last one we watched was Crimson Peak, directed by Guillermo del Toro, starring Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
Saw that in theater, as I do every Guillermo del Toro movie.
Right. And
it was a beautifully done movie. Everything in it was great. The set, the costumes, the ghosts, everything of it really looked beautiful.
Okay.
The story fell a little flat for me because they were going for a gothic romance as opposed to a gothic scary movie.
Right.
And in that aspect, they really hit it really well. And I actually enjoyed it more the second viewing than the original viewing.
Okay.
I will be honest, it just wasn't what I wanted out of the movie.
I feel like you actually talked about this on the podcast. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm just bringing it up again because Jess had never seen it.
Right. It was just the way you were saying it was ringing bells. So, anything else movie-wise?
That is all movie-wise.
Okay. Should we move on to the comic books?
Actually, before we move on to the comic books...
You've got a thing.
We have a thing.
Okay.
I want to talk about the latest Hot Ones.
Oh, the Bobby Lee episode?
The Bobby Lee episode.
Oh...
That's why I want to talk about it.
It's so
uncomfortable. Right?
Oh, the interview in itself was super uncomfortable. I don't even know who this guy is.
You do know who Bobby Lee is.
I mean, once they started showing some clips of what he's been in, I'm like, okay.
Bobby Lee was a weekly regular on the Adam Carolla podcast. Remember the Asian guy? There was always someone coming in weekly doing Asian jokes and stuff?
Yeah.
That's Bobby Lee.
Oh.
That's where...
I didn't think he was funny then either.
Welcome to Bobby Lee now. The only funny thing Bobby Lee's ever done was his joke about flip-flops. Instead of saying flip-flops. And that was only mildly amusing.
Okay.
And that's the only funny thing I remember from Bobby Lee.
One of the things that I really tend to like about Hot Ones is Sean Evans, the host, can usually get a really good rapport and conversation going with the guests.
Except for the first 3 episodes.
Well, we don't count those. Like the first 3 episodes of this. I tell people to start on episode 4.
It wasn't 3 Autumn?
4 was Autumn.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's when we finally started using these mics.
Agreed. Yeah, that's super fair though. Yeah, okay. First 3 episodes aside.
But on this episode, anytime Sean was trying to ask questions of Bobby would like interrupt and interject and tell these awkward stories and things like that. And I'm like, dude, you're just making this awkward. Like, stop trying to control the situation. You're being interviewed. It's not a skit where you have to have dominance. So,
and that actually is what it seemed like, was that he was trying to make it into an improv sketch the entire time.
Yeah.
Not just realizing this is just an interview. I'm just trying to talk to you about these things.
But he was also doing a really terrible job of yes-anding.
He wasn't yes-anding. He was no and then insulting.
Yeah.
Or no and deprecating.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Yeah. And then it culminated right after he hit the last wing by him messing himself.
So, Hot Ones, first time ever, we've seen people throw up.
Yeah.
We've seen people have to go take a shit.
Yep.
And we've seen like producers coming out and talking to them in the restroom, whatever. First time that we've seen somebody shit themselves on air.
Oh, so awkward.
Here's the part I don't understand. Had he not said anything, no one would have known. Granted, when the show stopped recording,
it would have been obvious.
Fine.
But so here's my question though. Was it intentional? Or did it even happen to begin with? Because if you remember at the beginning of the interview,
they were joking about
They were talking about other times he's shit in his producer's office in Mad TV and stuff like that. So like that's almost the gimmick he's known for now. So was it intentional? And did it even happen, or did they just play that up to keep the gag going?
I actually think he got overconfident in a fart.
Okay.
Because he'd been ripping ass throughout the whole episode.
Yeah.
So I honestly think he got overconfident in a fart.
Okay.
And it actually happened, and he owned it.
Okay.
Does he get credit for owning it? No. Fucking lie about that stuff. If I pissed myself yesterday, you know what I would not tell anybody? That I pissed myself yesterday.
No.
I have the quiet dignity to come home and clean myself up. Or if I have to go into public, get water all throughout my thighs so it doesn't, not just my crotch.
Right.
Like a gentleman would.
Yeah. So, super awkward episode though. There's actually a new episode up I haven't watched yet, but it's not a celebrity. It's Sean going hot sauce shopping.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm interested about that.
Okay.
Because I think he'll probably talk about some different hot sauces.
So the Double D Meats, the butcher shop here in Mount Lake Terrace, has every one of the hot sauces except the Hot Ones one.
Right.
Which is the only one I want to try.
Right. I'm going to Leavenworth in 2 weekends.
Okay.
And they have a really good hot sauce shop there. I'm thinking about scoping that out to see if they have it there.
Now, who makes the Hot Ones sauce? It's the company in Phoenix, right?
Oh,
And guess where I'm going
I
next
see where you're
week.
going
Yeah.
with this. Yeah.
I'm gonna try to find me some Hot Ones sauce on there next week.
Let me know how you do.
Yeah. So that is one of my goals. I'm gonna be out of town next week, so we will actually not be recording next Wednesday.
Good to know for me.
Yeah, I
knew you were going. I couldn't remember what days.
Yeah.
So tell the family I say hi.
I will. It's unfortunately this is one of those trips where I really don't want to go.
No.
Because I'm missing Complex Con because of it.
Go get the hot sauce and have a bunch of it the day before that event that you don't want to go to anyways.
Yeah.
And then you can't go to the event because you're like, I literally can't leave the bathroom.
Or I could just lie and say that and then go do fun things with my wife.
Well, I mean, sure.
Like,
but
let's be honest, I'm not above lying. Like, I don't have
that's
scruples
true. I mean,
and morals.
I've known you for a couple years. I know this.
It's very true.
So, I mean, you guys wouldn't even believe the amount of times he lies right here on the show.
Oh my God. Like countless.
Like, really, he didn't watch any of those movies.
What movies?
Exactly.
I couldn't list them again if I tried. I just recanted the movies I watched in my youths.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm going to be there. So I'm hopefully going to try to find some Hot Ones while I'm down there.
So what is... I'm trying to figure out our recording schedule for the rest of the month because I leave on the 25th.
Is that confirmed?
It's like 90%.
So that is another reason I chose to go with the cider because else I didn't know what we were going to do in November.
We're going to do Magners next time we record.
Ooh, I've actually never had a Magners.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, perfect.
I know it's made by the same company who makes Guinness.
Yes.
But I've never had it.
Okay.
They also make Smithwick's, Harp, and one other. Maybe Magners is the other.
Do they make... Why can I not think of it now? The cream ale.
You're thinking Boddington's?
Nope.
Old Speckled Hen?
No, it's another Irish one. They serve it at Irishman. That's the only place I get it. So it's like, anyways.
Kilkenny.
Yes.
They do not.
No? Okay. I only thought they did because Irishman has Guinness and Magners and Harp and all that on tap and Kilkenny, so I thought maybe it was all the same. Anyways.
Well, who knows? Maybe they do and I don't know that they do.
I don't know. Also, if you're ever in Ireland and try to order a Magners, you can get laughed at.
Because they don't call it Magners
They
there.
call it Bulmers.
Right.
Bulmers is the original name. Unfortunately, there's a British brewery that has export rights on the name Bulmers, even though it's not a cider, so they have to export it as Magners. But either way, it's delicious.
The more you know.
Okay.
Moving on to comics.
Let's go to comics. What do you got in your stack?
All right, so this week I have Batman 10, Justice League 8, Nightwing 8 and the variant cover, Superman number 10, Moon Knight number 8. Now, a couple Marvel number 1s that I only got number 1s that I'm curious about.
Yeah.
The New Avengers number 1, Thor the Unworthy number 1, Occupy Avengers number 1.
You actually bought that shit?
Look, man, I'm curious about it. I'm only going to read the first one. Death of X number 3, Mayday number 1.
I read that.
Is it good? I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. And I have the Faster Than Light Volume 2 trade paperback.
Okay. You should read Mayday. It's real good.
I'm looking forward to Mayday. It's a 5-part mini.
Yeah, that's the only reason I picked it up.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't want to commit to another book right now. But
Look,
sure.
any Hammer and Sickle related thing, I'm totally in for.
Right?
Like Red 1.
I think I heard that Red 1 Volume 2 is out.
It is. Hardback.
I haven't read it. How did we not?
I bought issues 3 and 4 of Red 1 this year.
It never came up on the show.
Oh, yeah, it must have.
No, because otherwise everyone like, oh shit, it's out.
Yeah, it's out. Totally.
Yeah, I saw that last week.
However, I found out that they're going to do a different type of printing. So they didn't. So Red 1 is. I'm sure we've talked about this.
Oh, no, we definitely talked about it because we both loved the book.
It's 2 issues a year.
But it's oversized issue, so it was like 40 pages.
It's 2 oversized, and then the trade is an oversized hardback.
Yeah.
So the discussion is that possibly when the third year comes out, because they're only doing the 3 years,
Yeah.
it's going to be collected in one supersized hardback.
Okay.
That's the rumor.
I'm trying to remember if I bought that in paper copy or if I did it digitally.
I have paper copies.
Well, no, I'm just trying to remember what I bought the first 2 in,
I
so
know,
I
I'm
can
trying to
buy
think
the second
too.
2 in the same. I think I had them digitally.
I think you did.
Okay. Then I'm going to go home and
I
I'm gonna
love
buy this.
Red 1.
Anyways,
Wait,
okay.
Hammer and Sickle, I'm in.
I got it tattooed on me. I'm always in.
What you got?
Super awkward when I went to the Russian bathhouse. Did I tell you that story?
No.
So
is this an on-air story? Or
Yeah,
off-air
no,
story?
totally
okay,
fine.
Cool.
So in downtown Everett, there is a Russian bathhouse, like
Yes.
legitimate Russian bathhouse.
Which is super weird that it's there.
Yeah. But I went there back in early September, and they offer a massage service there. So I got a massage by Greg.
Come on, he can't fake.
I'm sure the full name is like Gregory with an I.
Why can't he be Grigori and just like fake that shit up?
I don't know. But he was totally in Adidas slip-on sandals and socks.
Oh, that's a little better then.
Yeah.
All right,
And I'm pretty sure he had a fanny pack on too.
Ah, he's Russian.
Absolutely. But he saw my hammer and sickle tattoo. And he's like, what is that tattoo?
Because you have the Superman. For those
I have the Red Sun Superman tattoo.
Red Sun.
So it's the Superman symbol, but instead of the S, it's hammer and sickle.
Who will be making an appearance in DC Comics in 2 months? Snap.
Super excited.
Continue. Sorry.
Anyway, so he saw it and he's like, why do you have that? I'm like, oh, it's actually based on a comic that I really like. And he's like, oh, do you know what it means? I'm like, I mean, I know it was like a communist symbol, but I'm not. Well, it was. But he's like, so the actual meaning is this. And he told me what it meant. And he's like, but a lot of people, they don't like seeing it. And I'm like, oh, good. I'm glad I'm not in a place surrounded by Russians with no shirt on. Shit. Anyways, okay. So this is what I got for comics. Eden's Fall, numbers 1 through 3.
Okay.
Are you familiar with this?
I'm not.
You know how I read Postal?
I do.
So this is a 3-way crossover. Postal, Think Tank, which I don't know if you know that one.
No.
It's another Image title. It's been coming out for a bit. The Tithe.
That one I'm familiar with.
That was the only one I didn't know.
Okay.
So it's a crossover between those. So there's characters of all 3 of them, and it has to do with the FBI agents in the Tithe chasing a criminal who has relocated to the town of Eden, which is the location that Postal takes place in.
Okay.
And they are also friends with the main character from Think Tank, which is just some super genius that's working for the government, coming up with gadgets and things like that. So it's a 4-issue miniseries. The first 3 have come out so far. I decided to read all 3 of them because it kind of ties into things that happen in the main Postal book also. Pretty good. It's very much in the same vein. I think it's actually written by Matt Hawkins, who's the writer of Postal. Yeah. So ties into that. So I read those. I read Batman number 10.
Oh, okay.
Have you read it yet?
I haven't, but I hear it got horrible reviews.
It's fucking terrible.
Wow.
So
did you read 9?
I did.
Obviously, you read it because you read 10.
So
9 was okay, except for the Catwoman part.
So this issue takes place in Santa Prisca, and it's Batman. It opens up with Batman flying in there. He's trying to get
Bane.
Nope. Psycho Pirate, who is there, and he just keeps repeating the same thing over and over. I'm here to get Psycho Pirate. I need him to help somebody who's in trouble. If you give him to me, I'll leave peacefully. If not, I'll break your back.
Why does he why?
And that repeats like 8 times throughout the comic. He just keeps saying the same thing over and over and over and over.
It's a Nightfall reference.
Right. And apparently Bane is no longer on the Venom.
Yeah, we learned that in issue 9.
Yeah. So when Batman encounters him, he even says, if I was still on the Venom, I could break you like nothing. But since I'm not, I have to resort to other measures. So he does like this weird cross-face chicken wing type move.
Okay.
And snaps his back that way and throws him into a pit. I'm like, this. I've seen Christian Bale handle this. I know.
You're kidding me. All right, I'm going to flip through it real fast because it got real bad reviews.
It was terrible. And then there's a narration that's going on the whole time from Catwoman.
Okay.
Talking about how it's the whole story about how she grew up in an orphanage, and it was a Wayne Foundation funded orphanage, so she used to see his picture all the time, and when they kiss, it makes all the pain go away, and and at the end, the last panel, you see that she's actually there helping him too. And
so his back's not actually broken; he walk out just fine.
No, so his back was broken. He was thrown in the pit. The panel that you had open where he's like snapping his own back, that was him putting his back in place, just like in the movie. And I'm like, that's him relocating his spine. And I'm like, this is terrible. I'm watching a panel by panel shot of The Dark Knight Rises,
Dark Knight Return,
whatever the one with Bane was.
Yeah.
So read that. I read Green.
Yeah, you're right, Rises.
I read Green Lanterns.
Ooh, why are you giving them money for that? Please tell me you illegally downloaded it.
No, these are all paid for. I was super lost at the beginning of this comic.
Okay.
So at the end of issue 9, it's where we see that normal human guy who's been trying to become a Green Lantern.
Yes.
Be approached by Volthoom, the first Lantern.
Correct.
Issue 10 opens up with Simon Baz freaking out because he has the Phantom Lantern ring on.
Okay.
But there's nothing that shows him actually putting it on.
Okay. Is it like maybe retroactive? They talk about it?
No, it's like that's where it's current. That's where it opens. So the whole issue is then about Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz fighting some person that's in the neighborhood while this other human sneaks in and steals the ring. He ends up getting the ring, getting the power of all the lanterns.
So the Phantom ring is just another White Lantern ring then?
Essentially, yes. But the White Lantern ring was
chosen.
This one, anybody can put it on. Yeah.
Why the stupid name and why the... I don't care.
So it's a terrible book. So I read that. I read Green Arrow, number 10. It's still an interesting read. I'm curious to see how it's going. It keeps talking about this stupid underground train that connects Asia to the U.S., but there's things happening. And then I read Mayday number 1.
Okay. And you like Mayday?
Great book.
Okay. I'm looking forward to Mayday.
It takes place in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's one of these
Cold
books.
War era.
Yeah, so it's Cold War, Soviet spies. It actually takes place in the 60s because it's during the Vietnam War. another interesting thing that the writer's doing is he has a soundtrack that goes along with the book.
Shut up.
So, but the songs like take place in the book, so there's references to them. You'll have a panel, and it'll have like in the background they're playing "Black Dog" by Led Zeppelin.
Oh, so it's not like, hey, listen to these songs while you're reading.
But
Okay,
then
I see
in
what you're saying.
the backup page, it talks about why he chose those songs, which is kind of interesting. So I'm almost curious to read it again with all those songs queued
going
up and see how it works. But
see if you can get like a Dark Side of the Moon kind of thing going.
yeah.
All right.
But apparently the first song is just like 8 minutes of silence.
The first song,
Or maybe it's the second song. The John Cage song.
John Cage, 433, Knock 3 Times. Oh, that's a good song.
So John Cage 433 is just apparently it's 4 minutes and 33 seconds of like the static you hear on
It's
a
a
record
ringtone.
at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Led Zeppelin, Black Dog, the Osmonds, oh man, I haven't heard that song forever.
right.
The Doors, Peace Frog, and Alice Cooper, Killer. Nice.
So yeah, I kind of want to go over it again like tomorrow or something with those songs queued up.
Okay.
But so far, really good. I enjoy it. I'll probably pick up issue 2. I don't know. I can't remember if it's an ongoing or a limited. That's the
limited.
1 of 5.
It's 5
That's the 1 of 5.
issues.
Yeah. So
Okay. You read a lot more than I read this week. All I had time to read.
I read 8 issues. It's not that much.
All I had time to read was 1.
Okay. You bought much more than I did.
I did.
As per usual.
Given my new schedule, I'm no longer able to buy them Tuesday night. So, like,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
It's not that I can't buy them Tuesday night. It's just that it doesn't fit in my schedule well.
Right.
So I end up actually picking them up Wednesday around noon.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a rough life.
I'm sacrificing so much for my... So I read Superman number 10.
Okay.
So fucking good.
Okay.
Like, there was nothing about this issue that turned me... Like, every bit of it from beginning to end made me super happy. It's all about Jonathan and Damian. So Tomasi and Gleason are writing this and drawing it. And remember, they're the ones who did Batman and Robin
Yep.
in Detective Comics. So essentially, you're getting the original writers and artists on that writing this. So their Damian and their Batman are spot on.
Okay.
But so has been their Superman, their Jonathan. So it starts off with Jonathan, being like a tiny Clark Kent in class and nobody keeping a tabs on him because Damian sent nobody to watch over him. Things go awry. He found out he has his frost breath because he's allergic to Goliath and sneezes on him and freezes him. So then it turns to Damian kidnaps him, sedates him because he turns out that he finds out that his powers are related to his emotions. That when he becomes too emotional, his powers break out. Then you find out Damian's been tracking him since like issue 3.
What?
Like he's talking about all these things that Jonathan's been doing that you're like, holy shit, Damian's been watching this for a long time. Well, eventually, Batman shows up. He's like, Damian, essentially, what the fuck are you doing? You need to let him out now before. And then you see this enraged Superman just break through everything looking for his son, which I actually quite enjoyed. Because so far in the Superman book and Action Comics since Rebirth, we haven't seen Superman just let go. He's always been in control.
Sure.
So it's nice to see that with John kidnapped, he's just letting go. Like his eyes come in heat vision. Like if you see that panel...
Yeah, that's...
Like, even John's scared.
Yeah.
And essentially, he then stands toe-to-toe with Batman, who tries to explain things to him. He talks to nobody. Alfred, takes care. So now they're building that relationship. Because we know in the Wave 2 of Rebirth is going to be Super Sons.
Right.
You learn about... Because Damian had Ace, and he had the cat, and he had the bat cow. Yeah. So Jonathan's essentially telling him he's a horrible pet owner for leaving him in the cage to bring him to the farm, and he'll teach him how to raise them and whatnot. And it ends with, essentially, Damian being a little shit and, talking shit to Jonathan and explaining to him how well, you lost control of your powers and you killed your cat and you made your mom cry and this and that. And John has enough and loses it and punches him.
Oh, jeez.
Which causes those two to fight. Superman to break it up, and Batman determined that it's time for them to go to boot camp together.
Oh, boy.
So that's what we're going to have going forward.
Okay.
Is going to have Batman and probably along with Superman training the two boys.
Okay.
And I am so excited. Like, it's just a wholesome, well-drawn, well-written, entertaining comic book.
Okay.
And that's really what I want out of my Superman stuff.
That sounds much more entertaining, like Batman training Damian and Jonathan than Batman training Duke Thomas.
Yeah, right?
That's been bullshit.
Ugh.
So, cool. I'm glad that one was a good read.
It was really good. Like, it's the one I read. I sent a text message to the guy who runs the store as soon as I finished it. That just said, so fucking good. Because it really, really was. And that was it for my comic books.
Okay. I have nothing else for this week.
That's it for me this week. I'll promise doing a popping culture while I'm out of town, and like always, probably forget.
Yeah, well.
But at least, I'm keeping the streak alive.
Right. If nothing else, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
All right.
Bye.
See you.